Talk show.
Talk back.
Talk radio.
Walk your talk.
Talk your talk. KGNU Talk.
Call in.
Call in and talk.
Call in and connect.
Connections.
Friday mornings at 8:30
on KGNU.
Good morning. My name is Eli Kalin with the Connections crew down at KGNU Community Radio. I am with Andrea Barella. I'm going to actually ask you to unmute on Zoom so that you can introduce yourself. She is the CEO of NEWSED, the Community Development Corporation down in Denver, Colorado.
Hi, I'm actually joining by my phone as well because the volume doesn't work on my laptop, but I hope you can hear me okay.
I can definitely hear you.
Awesome. Okay. Yes, I'm Andrea Barella, the president and CEO of NEWSED Community Development Corporation. We're a 52-year-old organization that started in West Denver. We now serve the entire state of Colorado. Our mission is to promote community development to underserved populations in Colorado by providing navigation for housing services, nurturing small businesses, and promoting asset creation. Our vision is that we serve underserved populations and we serve all underserved populations and have access to create opportunity and household prosperity.
And that's really unique. Ultimately, you started in 1973. How did this idea come to fruition in 1973?
See, back then, the city of Denver, through the Office of Economic Development and through community development block grants, created what was called action centers. And they created them in a lot of different neighborhoods in Denver: West Denver, North Denver, East Denver. And of course, West Denver had an action center. And those were really created to serve basic community need. A lot of them were like food banks, service navigation, things of that nature. And it was around that time that what was needed was to create more of an organization that met the economic development needs of those neighborhoods, right? Rather than just providing basic human services. And so that's how NEWSED was formed. And really, NEWSED was sort of the only surviving organization out of those times that really stayed on the track of creating economic development. And NEWSED is an acronym. It actually means New West Side Economic Development. We don't go by that because it's too long, so we just go by NEWSED. And in those early years, NEWSED was doing a lot of different things, right? It was building a lot of commercial development near Santa Fe Drive, on Santa Fe Drive. It really focused on that main commercial corridor. It leveraged CDBG money from the city to do streetscape initiatives, to first start developing business initiatives to get more small businesses to occupy Santa Fe Drive. So back then, through that work, it ushered in really hundreds of new businesses for the corridor. And NEWSED was really a direct liaison through, back then it was called OED, today it's called BDO, but to help people find mortgages for their homes or facade renovations for their businesses. El Noah is an example of that. Artists on Santa Fe is an example of that. And then it started doing events, right? In around the late 80s. That's when the Cinco de Mayo festival first came about. And really that event was created to highlight specifically the Santa Fe Drive corridor. And so the Cinco de Mayo started on Santa Fe Drive and it just got really big, really popular. Back then, NEWSED was shutting Santa Fe Drive down from Friday to Sunday. And it really just outgrew the footprint of Santa Fe Drive and moved to Civic Center Park. So it's been at Civic Center Park since '92. But NEWSED's work continued. Really, its initial work really was the impetus for the art district. It was in those early years when artists were taking notice of the area and seeing how affordable it was, began moving their galleries there. And you just had some anchor kind of tenants that started moving to Santa Fe Drive, and that sort of snowballed into what we have today, which is the first state designated art district in Colorado. And as most people know, Santa Fe Drive is known for its First Fridays. It's known for its density of galleries and artist workspace. And yeah, it remains that today. I actually am a board member for the art district as well. And I have served as the president of the Santa Fe Business Improvement District for the last 10 years. And I'm the outgoing president as of this year, but I'm still a board member. And just to give you a little bit of background too, my mother was NEWSED's most longest running executive director. She served as executive director for 40 years, Veronica Barella. And she really led the vision and the direction of the organization for up until 2018, where she retired and I succeeded her. And I really grew up with the organization. It's not been my only job. I've not just only worked at NEWSED. I've worked in the foundation world, other organizations, but came back to work for NEWSED about 17 years ago as their development director and grew into the position of director now. Yeah, NEWSED has had a very interesting history. It very much a quarterback organization for West Denver. And I think that now what we have focused on is our service delivery, really. We are a HUD and CHAFA approved housing counseling agency. We're one of the handful of housing counseling agencies in the state of Colorado. We serve, like I said, the entire state. We're seeing people from southern Colorado to northern Colorado. We provide one-on-one counseling, group education. We also have financial literacy programs. We're teaching people about retirement, to budgeting, to credit, everything you can imagine we're teaching. And then we also have, of course, really harkens back to how we started our small business development programs. We have the first City of Denver's retail incubator program. It's called the Zone Marketplace. It's right now it's at 725 Santa Fe Drive, but we're actually moving it right next to the space right next to it, 733 Santa Fe Drive. We've just done a renovation on that space. And so we're going to be moving that program there. And so that's coming soon this month. We're actually having a graduation this Saturday for about 6 small businesses that have been there for the last 2 years. That program is a 2-year program, and we're celebrating them this weekend.
That's amazing. How long? You almost answered. I had like a whole line of questions, and you basically answered like 4 of them. No, that's the beautiful thing about this. But I wanted to know how long that incubator program is. It is a 6-month program, year long. You mentioned that some of these businesses have been in the area or in that incubator for up to 2 years, it sounds like?
Yeah, so basically what we have as a prerequisite to get into the program, we have a business basic course. It's an 8-part course. And in that course, and anybody can take this course. You don't have to just be a retailer. This course is applicable to really any type of business model. And so you take this course. It's taught by our instructor. Her name is Jackie. And these courses are offered in English and Spanish. And she covers everything, brings in guest speakers. We have a guest lawyer that helps teach on legal night. And it's great. It's a great program. Each class there's 2 classes per week. So really in like about a month period, you're done with the class, right? And so that is the prerequisite for you to get into the zone. And then once you're there, yes, it's a 2-year program. There is a small rent. It really just depends upon the size of the space that you need. And there's a small program fee, just $20 a month. And with that, you get one-on-one coaching assistance to help you. We call it, it's not just working in your business, it's working on your business. That's the point of you being there. And right now we're taking applications, intakes for people who are interested at being at the zone. We're actually going to have like an information session about the zone next Thursday evening at 5:30 if anybody's interested. Again, 733 Santa Fe Drive is where we'll be having that. But yeah, it's a great program. We've been doing that program since 2013 with support from the City of Denver, some national funders, JP Morgan Chase, groups like that. But yeah, it's been a good program. We also have something called Lending Circles. It's the only program of its kind in the state of Colorado where it's like a social loan program and there's no interest, no fees involved with it. It's a credit builder, very, very trusted program. We've been doing that program since about 2015. But yeah, we truly try to live up to our mission, and that is to help people create assets for their household. And we really do focus on adult self-sufficiency, economic upward mobility. I mean, these are the types of programs that really break generational poverty. And the work that we do is very important. And you're trying to keep it going. We're always looking for financial support for the organization, donations. We are a charitable 501c3 organization. We have to raise money like any other nonprofit with grant funding, donations. Of course, we do events, things like that to help support what we do. The Cinco de Mayo is coming up this May 3rd and 4th. If you're looking for a good time, break away from all the madness that's happening in the world right now, come down and celebrate culture, right? This is the time to be proud of how diverse and how strong of a Latino community that we have in Colorado and celebrate our culture. And so we invite everyone down to do that. Everybody should celebrate with us. And yeah.
So how is NEWSED adapting to, let's just say, the economic times of today? Like, obviously, you have a base since 1973. You're an even older organization than KGNU. We started in 1978. So really, you've got you're really integrated into the community. But have you been able to adapt or adjust or pivot to, let's say, helping the underserved communities of Denver and Colorado in today's economy?
Yeah. We're 3 months into today's economy, and it's already looking so crazy. And we've seen a lot of craziness over our 52 years, of course. And we're fortunate enough to have been pretty resilient and to be forward looking and be able to adjust to community need. And that's what you have to do as a nonprofit. You have to adjust. And during COVID, we had to do a lot of that. And we were a big participant in helping get those ARPA monies out, right? Like, we distributed $4 million through the state of Colorado to help people stay in their homes with mortgage relief. We also distributed $2.15 million through the city of Denver for the neighborhood activation program. We also did 3 or 4 rounds of small business grants, again, through the city and the state. So those are the kinds of ways NEWSED, when there is a financial crisis, usually the powers that be, the cities and the state, look to organizations like us to assist in those types of things. And I just know that we're in it right now. And until this administration changes or something changes drastically, we're probably gonna be looked at again. It is interesting, though. I will say this. We're a different kind of organization. I think people sometimes have a hard time wrapping their head around who NEWSED is and what we do and put a face to what we do. But I'm going to give you an example. We just had a graduate who graduated our business basic course, right? She went through the course. She sells therapeutic shoes. That's her business. And I like to interview businesses after they finish the course. So I take them to a different room. We do a little interview. And she said, 25 years ago, I bought my house through NEWSED. And I said, "Are you serious?" She said, "Yeah." She said, 25 years ago, I was one of NEWSED's first clients, and I still have that home. And because I had that home, I was able to leverage the equity and start a business. She actually had a very successful childcare business that she actually sold and made a lot of money off of. She was able to support her family. She just was such a great story. And that's what I'm talking about. That's the human face of what we do. It creates generational wealth and prosperity when you put people into home ownership. That's what it does. And she was just the perfect example of what I'm talking about here. And it made me cry because it was like so impactful, her story. And I think that what people need to understand is that we're not like a bank. We're not like a lending service. We're a nonprofit organization that literally takes people from step 1 to buying a home. Or if they're in foreclosure, we help get them out of that situation without charging them or being predatory. Some groups tend to be, and unfortunately, and we're a trusted source for those things. And we're a fully bilingual agency. We help everybody. And yeah, what we do is important work. And no, we're not a food bank. We're not serving cats and dogs. And those are very important organizations, obviously. But what we do is very important as well. And I will tell you, it is very hard to raise money for what we do. It is very hard to do. And that's my mission. As a director, that's my job, is to raise those dollars and to find the sources of funding. Now, when COVID happened and Black Lives Matter movement was really strong, for years we couldn't, and I'm not going to name the foundations, but for years we couldn't even get foundation dollars. And it wasn't until that happened that the foundations looked at organizations like us and said, "Oh, we need to be supporting what you do. You actually help people create economic mobility for their families." So many families are at the starting line, right? They're at the starting line and they don't have generational wealth. They have to start somewhere. And we give them the tools to do that. We give them the hand holding to do that. Yeah.
You bring up a really good point. Like, basically 90% of basically somebody who's 45 years and younger wants to buy a home, but they feel like it's unattainable. And that's a big piece, especially since we are in the largest transition of wealth that will probably ever happen. I read an article this morning in regards to the millennials are going to be that next generation, because I always get my generations mixed up, but the boomers are now starting to sell all of these homes, which holds this largest transition of wealth. And now it's like, how can, let's say, NEWSED or other organizations help the millennials that feel like it's unattainable get into a home? And it's a long-term game. You mentioned the lady who sells shoes, right? And then she literally bought a home with you guys like 20 years ago. It's time in the market that really matters. And that is able to create that generational wealth that then they can pass down to their children and then their children and so on and so forth.
Yeah. And I don't want us all to have self-fulfilling prophecies about this. I think that if you're going to pay $2,500 to $3,000 for rent, that's pretty much what a mortgage payment is, right? And I feel that that's why financial education is so important. They're taking that away in schools. They're taking that away. And people really don't understand how credit works. People don't really understand how just important budgeting is. I don't know about you, but I look at my budget almost every day. I look at it almost every single day. I need to make sure that, things are coming out properly. And I know that I don't want to frustrate people. I can't budget my way out of not making enough money. And I understand that. But savings is very important. Building your credit is very important. And everyone can do that. And there are ways to get there. And there's ways to hack your situation. And I think that we're able to provide some guidance around that kind of thing and really support efforts to figure out, in terms of my household, what is it that I can do to get myself there? And if it's not attainable in these next few years, what is the map to get there? Yeah, I fully agree that it's difficult, but I know that there's a path. I know there is.
Yeah, there's so many paths.
Yeah, there is. There's a lot of financial products out there. There's down payment assistance. There's banks that are offering creative ways for people to finance. There's land trusts that are offering affordable properties now. So the good news is we live in Colorado. That's our saving grace right now. And believe it or not, there's quite a few things out there to get you into a home. You just have to really work at it. Yeah.
Not to pivot, but what is NEWSED working on right now? How do you see the next 5 to 10 years looking for NEWSED, and what are you really striving for?
I'm glad you asked that. I heard your announcer say that we provide affordable housing. And actually, I want to correct you on that. I want to correct the narrative about NEWSED. And there is a reason why people say that, right? NEWSED was one of the first organizations to build low-income affordable housing. We were one of the first organizations to build a mixed-use development affordable housing property. And we still own that property. It's on 10th and Santa Fe. It's the Via de Barella.
Is that the one with all the colors?
Yeah, so you know how they just built like the Quinn and Nita on 10th and Santa Fe? They're two side-by-side properties where our building is right across the street from that.
Okay.
And it was erected in 2005. Low-income housing tax credits had been available for a while before then, but really you're seeing LIHTC properties being built everywhere, every day. And here's the thing. Affordable rental housing is very important for families, right? It's very important for families to become stabilized, to live affordably. It's very important. But here's the thing that we believe at NEWSED. It should not be the end-all be-all for families. You shouldn't just live in affordable housing the rest of your life. There should be a track for you to find economic independence. There should be. And there's not enough organizations doing what we do to help people with that path. So you asked what our focus is going to be. That's going to be our focus. And we are no longer going to be building affordable housing. The thing about when NEWSED started doing that, you needed to really be on that track. You needed to be building a property year after year in order for those properties to support themselves. The name of the game when you build property is units, and a lot of units. You need a lot of units. And we just don't have that. And rather than beat ourselves over the head and try to build more, we decided to go the opposite direction because we see a lot of our colleagues in the field who've done just an excellent job on that track. And the thing about it is that you can't build an affordable housing property without having services in your property. You have to have some sort of community-based services in your community. And we see NEWSED playing a big role in being service providers in those future communities. And because it's both nonprofit organizations and for-profit developers that are building affordable housing. And we see us playing a role in both those types of communities. And we want to do more in the financial literacy space. We want to do more. We want to be able to expand our services, satellite our services to different parts of the state. We want to, of course, do more in small business development. I'd like to see the zone marketplace in several communities, not just Santa Fe Drive. I want to see it in areas that have good foot traffic to give good visibilities to these retail clients. So that's our big, audacious goal for the organization.
I think that's just a really nice goal, and it brings up like even my story. I used the Boulder Affordable Home Program, and I chose not to use the actual affordable side of it, but they've got an H2O program, or a home to ownership program, where they didn't give me my down payment, but I was able to put a down payment into a home that was market rate and that appreciates. And that's the stepping stone that you're talking about. It's like you don't have to live in affordable housing that's deeded that way, like forever. You can continuously grow, continuously evolve, and get better. Or not get better, but grow and adapt. And
yeah,
and
absolutely.
That's the beauty of it. And I'm also going to go real quick. So KGNU FM 88.5 Boulder, Colorado, KGNU 1390 Denver. And this is also a call-in radio show. So if you have any questions or want to get connected to Andrea in any way, please reach out. Also, if you're just joining us, this is Andrea Barella. She's the CEO of NEWSED, a community development organization located in West Denver.
Yes.
Interestingly enough, I know you say West Denver, but Denver's grown since 1973.
Yeah.
So it's definitely, I want to say, city in the realm.
Yeah.
But you
we serve, like I said, we're located in West Denver. That's our home base. But yes, we do serve the entire state of Colorado.
Like you hold housing, like I was going through your website, you have a class in Rifle, Colorado that you teach.
Okay.
Or somebody teaches.
So we did teach, we take our show on the road, as I like to say.
Yeah.
Right? Who's a big partner of the organization, partners with NEWSED, and they take us to different parts of the state quarterly. Right now it's quarterly. We hope one day it'll be monthly, but we go to different parts of the state. Yeah, we were just in Rifle. We were in Leadville last year. We were in, I always want to say Grand Junction, but it's not Grand Junction. I'll think of it in a minute. I'm blanking right now. But yeah, they take us to different parts of the state. And when we go there, we teach the homebuyer class in both English and Spanish. And we're seeing tons of people at these classes, 70, 80 people. It's a lot. And we teach these classes monthly at different locations. One of our longtime locations has been the United Methodist Church in Littleton. They have a great community space in their building. They welcomed us with open arms. We were very grateful to that church, and it's just been a great space to hold these classes. And it's really helped bring a lot of people from Southern Colorado up to take these courses as well. But what I always tell people is these classes get you FHA certified, right? However, these classes, you should take them if you're just thinking about buying a home or if you're in the market. Don't wait to take this class. Take it right away. Don't wait. It's definitely super informative. You learn everything you need to learn about what it means to contract a real estate agent, what an inspection is, what it means to be a homeowner, just everything. And a lot of people, when they wait to take the class and they take it to the last minute, they kick themselves and, God, I should have taken this a long time ago. Yeah, don't wait to take these classes. They're very informative, and you'll learn things that you just never knew. These are 6-hour classes. They're intensive. Yeah. And everything you need to know. We bring in guest speakers. So it's well worth it. It's well worth your time. Yeah.
It's like building a road. It's one brick at a time. You might not be ready for 3 months, 6 months, a year,
Maybe
or
sooner,
2
yeah.
years, but knowing what you can do, because credit takes time. Like, it takes time to build and really create your own personal, like, credit ecosystem, because it's about being ready. And I completely get what you're saying. Like, do the market education day now, or the classes now, so that you can learn and start implementing. Like you said, you look at your budget every day, and you're like, obviously there's a goal behind that. And how am I growing and evolving as a family or as a person, or ultimately in any context?
Yeah.
So that's the beauty of it is, you don't have to wait, and you don't know what you don't know. And if you sign up today, like, you're going to learn something.
Yeah, that's what I say all the time. You don't know what you don't know. And so it's always good to hear from people that are experts in this and ask all the questions. Just get some good information.
I just got a note. Yeah, if anybody wants to give a call in, our phone number is 303-442-4242. Forgot that part.
That'd be good. Yeah. But yeah, I really encourage people to check out our website. We're at newsed.org. That's NEWSED.org. And also check out our Cinco de Mayo website, cincodeMayoDenver.com. Put good information on there as well.
Yeah, I know that I'm going to do that. But I found you guys through probably a controversial news story around the Santa Fe Art District, like the road getting shut down. Obviously, we're not talking about that today, but when I dove a little deeper, I was like, oh my goodness, this is a wealth of information and knowledge, and not institutional, but like really deeply rooted into the community of Denver and Colorado. And the fact that you're aligned with Chafa and teaching classes and the incubator program, like, speaking of the incubator program, do you have any like commercial areas that you're targeting, let's say in Denver or beyond, that you would like to see the zone pop up in?
I really would like us to be downtown somewhere. Right now, there's such a huge amount of vacancy. It's something we're actually talking to the mayor's office about right now. You have all this vacancy, and here we have a program where we're trying to get small businesses started and give them the branding visibility and that kind of thing. Like, how do we partner? How do we help fill some of these spaces? And downtown's struggling. It's really struggling. And we got to get people back downtown. And so much of the restaurant industry has gone away, and there's got to be more affordable options. Even in the city of New York, which is an expensive city, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's still, you can go somewhere and get a slice of pizza and it's not going to cost you your whole week's budget. And so Denver needs to figure that out. Denver needs to figure that out and give people more affordable options to be downtown. So I think that would be a good area. And it's not, vacancy isn't just a thing happening in Denver. It's happening all over the place. The unfortunate thing is that property taxes, commercial property taxes especially, those get passed down to renters. And it's very expensive to rent in Denver right now. The economy has not caught up to that at all. And I think that even on Santa Fe Drive, last night, we just had a bid annual report meeting, right, where we recapped the previous year. And then we talked about the vacancy rates. We put up a list there about all the vacant units just on Santa Fe Drive alone and what their average square footage is going for. And I think on average, it's like $29, it's $29 a square foot, but that's just the square footage. Of course, there's triple nets to think about, and those can average anywhere from $7 to $13, depending upon the building, depending upon what the landlord wants. And man, it ain't cheap. I'm gonna tell you that. And so, yeah, for these very startup businesses, right? That's just not attainable. And so we have to find pockets of affordability for these businesses to grow. We have to work with the city to make that happen, right? Yeah, it's definitely an initiative for us. We need funding to do that, though, folks. Like, we need support. And we want to make businesses and households succeed. So, yeah, there's a path. It takes money and resources and investment.
Yeah, that's a big piece. And you bring up taxes. As a realtor myself, I don't, this is probably a controversial opinion, but I don't think interest rates and I don't think home prices are the biggest avenue to on affordability. It's really long term going to be taxes, both on the property and just in general, insurance. So
Yeah.
taxes and insurance. Like my condo's gone up by $300 in the last 2 years. And that's a big piece when $100 can be the difference between being housed and not being housed. Like it's
Yeah.
a big difference. So it's a scary time when you're like taxes are constantly going up, which I get. I also get the insurance piece, but we're not going to be able to get away from insurance. Whether you own a single family home, whether you own a commercial space, I think even as a nonprofit, like yes, technically, but like taxes and insurance are big right now.
Let me tell you. So this is where the zone is, right? So the zone was at 725 and we're moving them to 733, but we had a tenant in 733. We had a Wells Fargo ATM kiosk, and then we had Green Lady Gardens there for a number of years. Before that, other businesses as well. But, and then of course we have the parking lots that are attached to that. There's a parking lot on either side of Su Teatro. We own both of those parking lots. The property taxes have gotten so out of control. We have tried to fight them, but they've gotten so out of control that we could not bring in enough rent to cover just the property taxes, let alone the operating expenses of those properties. So what we decided to do is go full nonprofit on those spaces. We had to move out our renters. We just went full programming on that. We're going to move NEWSED's just home base there. And we've even had to eliminate parking fees because if we're earning money off of the parking lot, we have to pay taxes. It's a free lot right now, right? You can park there. It's free. What we're contemplating right now is making like a donation lot. So whatever you can donate for the lot. But yeah, we simply can't afford $130,000 in property taxes every year. And we don't even get half that in rent. And so it's bananas. So I feel we have 97 property owners on Santa Fe Drive and 117 businesses. And so they really are suffering. And that's the very kind of thing that can kill an art district where you have artists who don't, obviously, you've heard the starving artist trope, but that's a true thing. It's feast or famine, and it's hard to maintain and even kill in a district like ours. So there's got to be ways for the city to help supplement rents or something to help people. They've done it in Lakewood. There's examples of this in other cities, and I think Denver needs to help figure that out. It's too much. These property taxes. It's wild.
You brought up earlier, and I've been big on this. I try to integrate myself and am integrating myself into the art community. I grew up in Santa Fe, New Mexico, in
nice.
Hispanic culture. My sister's Colombian. There's this whole community. But when you look at the artists and the LGBTQ community, they have always moved into rundown, not desirable areas and made it their own. They created, NEWSED has probably helped with this, but they basically created an art district, which is a mecca center for art on Santa Fe Drive. It's an official art community, or one of the first one, right?
Yes, the first state designated one. That was a designation through Colorado Creative Initiatives, which was a Hickenlooper initiative. But I think that you're right. And one could argue that our districts usher in gentrification. I've heard that quite a bit. But the thing about Santa Fe Drive is that I think we've done a good job of maintaining our history. There still are a lot of cultural institutions on Santa Fe Drive, like Su Teatro, the Chicano Humanities and Arts Council, the Museo. So there's groups like that stay and have been able to really flourish and do really well. Su Teatro just bought a second building, and they have paid off their existing building. When you hear stuff like that, you just rejoice, because that's what you want to see. And our culture in that community is everything to us. It's everything to us. And it's everything to the people who even are newer to that area. They cherish it and they want to honor it and they want to do everything they can to support it. And that's what I love about our communities. They really care. They care aggressively about
and that is a good thing.
Yeah.
And I think what I see from what NEWSED is doing is, and just to finish my thought from earlier, is artists are coming in, building up a community, and NEWSED or other organizations, the other ones that you mentioned, are helping these artists stay in that community and build roots and structure. And I feel like the whole context of this conversation is about growth.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, growth, and how do we maintain that path? And get everyone involved, right? Everyone from city officials to the person that lives down the street. And we need everyone's involvement to stay strong. And we need to stay strong, especially right now. We need to stay strong. We need to keep our eyes focused. And I think that what my mom always taught me is that politicians are going to do what they're going to do, no matter what. We know that. And we have to support. We have to, where real change happens is at the community level. That's just always going to be the case. And so we have to hold on to that, and we have to work in areas that we can affect change and provide a good example for how we can support each other. So I hold on to that lesson, and I'm gonna hold on to that to the day I die, because I believe that's very true.
Well,
That's what I've seen.
Moms know best for the most part.
They do.
Everyone's experience is different, but your mom sounds really wise. And just dig, and it's not literally dig into your community, get to know people, say hi to your neighbor. All of that is so crucial, especially when we're distracted by our phones, we're sitting on a Zoom meeting right now, and you got to do what you got to do, but it's about fostering this community and really integrating yourself. I think I say this probably way too much, but it's like weaving yourself into the fabric of the community is key.
Yeah, and everyone is looking at this Trump administration and feeling like paralyzed by it. I feel that way. And what can we do? Support your local community. That's what you can do. You want to make your community as strong and resilient as possible. And so that means volunteering. That means giving to your local organizations. In West Denver, for instance, there's an even older organization than NEWSED. It's in its 60s, and that's the Denver Inner City Parish. And they run one of the best food banks in the city of Denver. They even have a mobile food pantry. They have a Greens and Grains program that serves after school meals to kids at different schools. Their programming is fantastic, and it has evolved quite a bit over the years. And what a perfect way, right, to give of your time and your food and your money to an organization like that. Find those organizations in your communities that need that. I mean, do it. What are you doing? What else? What, you want to feel stifled, or do you want to do something? And seek out organizations like NEWSED and the parish, and even these cultural organizations that I mentioned earlier. They also need your support. We all need your support. And I think that we have to keep on to that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's all about, who are our neighbors? Who are we together? Because I woke up and had utmost clarity after the election, and I was like, okay, cool. Dive deeper into the community, into the people.
Yeah.
Who are we who am I, and how can I help on a local level? And it's not about trying to change something on a massive level. It's about just, buying a cup of coffee for the person behind you. Or I was in a conversation.
Local businesses.
Exactly.
If you're boycotting the Targets and the Amazons and whatever, come to the zone and buy something from a small business that could really use your business, or really any of the businesses on Santa Fe Drive or in your local community. That's where you should be putting your money, because that'll go further. And at the end of the day, you've not supported some big conglomerate, rich billion-dollar company. You've supported a family. And so I think we're going to have to shift, right? Where there's going to have to be quite a huge cultural shift across the country, that okay, now if that's the game they want to play, all right, then we need to support each other.
Yeah. That's
Shop small.
yeah, shop small. Like 87 cents for every dollar that you shop local goes back into the local community. That's huge. It's either 87 or 67, but it's a big number. It's over half, well over half. Like it does make a difference. It doesn't always feel like it, but it does.
Absolutely.
Like,
It absolutely does. So I encourage people to do that.
Yeah, like I've been drawn into the town hall, which is just on Santa Fe, like 6th, 5th in Santa
5th,
Fe.
the 500 block, yeah.
And even KGNU used to be at 7th and Calumet. We were right there.
Yep.
We were in it.
Yeah. Yeah, you guys used to partake in the First Fridays. I remember all that. I used to go in there and visit you guys. Yeah. That space that you guys were in, that building, such a great space. We used to have community meetings back in the day in there, and I think NEWSED had one of its strategic planning sessions in that building years ago. But yeah, I like that. I'm not even sure what's in there right now. I haven't gone in there in a few years, but I do remember when KGNU was there for a long time too.
Yeah, we were there for a long time. Yeah, I mean, we've been in the Buell Media Center down in Denver for a little while, and then we're working on a new market tax credit right now. Has NEWSED ever been in the space of new market tax credits? Because I know that also involves CHAFA and all of that.
Yeah, it's something we're looking into right now, right? Because like our building at 725 and 733 really needs like a capital infusion, right? Like that roof needs replaced. The parking lot needs repaved. We'd like to expand it and have more space and possibly go up or just out. And that might be one of the tools that's available to us, congressionally directed spending maybe. So there are options we're looking into for that. And because, it will take us, it probably needs about $1 million in help, maybe more.
And you have a good point, whether you're saving for your capital expenditures in your home or you're saving in capital expenditures of, let's say, NEWSED's building and infrastructure, or paying into your HOA, like the capital expenses of owning real estate or being part of a community is real.
Yep, sure is. Sure is.
Yeah, there's
no around it.
There's no getting around it. Yeah, but it's also like, how do we utilize that to the best of our ability? And dig a little deeper into local community and local people, and how can we foster and build something that's big for me these days, is being part of something that is bigger than myself. And I think that's what truly drew me into volunteering at KGNU, ended up getting onto the board. Like, all of that is about being bigger than myself. Like, we are so much more powerful than we are as individuals when we can collaborate and ultimately come together.
I think what KGNU does is going to be and especially these next 4 years, is going to be very critical in terms of connecting the community with the resources that are out there. And I encourage you to continue to do that and seek out organizations like NEWSED that are doing incredible work, and how people can support that. And the community radio voice is always going to be very important, always has been, always will be. And so I commend you for doing this, and I encourage you to keep going, because it's very important.
Yes, this has been amazing. We have about 5 minutes, and I don't want to fully close it out, but I know we dove into kind of what you're working on, but is there any not last pieces, but really anything that you want to add to what NEWSED is doing, striving for, maybe big vision kind of stuff? Because I understand the basics of what NEWSED is doing.
Yes.
But how do you really see the next 5 years? I asked this already, but we're just coming back to it.
In terms of what NEWSED does in the service delivery area, we definitely want to keep doing it, but do it in a different way and do it in more communities. Our message of everything that we're teaching in our 3-part financial literacy courses, in our first-time homebuyer courses, the one-on-one counseling we provide, like we need to expand. We need to be in different parts of the state. We need to provide our incubator program in different parts where it's really needed. And so in order to do that, we have to find the resources and the funding and the support and do what we do well in a bigger way. What I like to tell people is that NEWSED isn't like one of these organizations that you're gonna see serves 80,000 people a year. We don't do that, because the work that we do is very detailed, and it's very much meeting the person where they're at, the household where they're at, to find out their unique path. And that takes a lot of individual work and time. It takes a lot of focus and a lot of commitment. And our numbers, we serve about 3,000 people a year. But we want to be able to do much more than that. And in order to do that, you have to have more staff. You need to have a bigger footprint. And like I mentioned at the beginning, like, our work is very important. It really does provide a path to upward economic mobility. It really does. I can prove it every day, all day. I can show you the examples. And like I mentioned at the beginning with that client, who bought a home through NEWSED 25 years ago, the small business owner that's still on Santa Fe Drive, right? Mm-hmm. Who's paid off their mortgage now.
The fact that you didn't even know that they had used you 20 years ago, or that your mom helped them. Right.
Yeah. Our counselors, for instance, they're skilled in what they do. They're certified in what they do. They're not just out here doing it. They have to go through basically what's the equivalent of an apprenticeship to get the knowledge base to even begin serving and meeting with clients and providing that one-on-one support. So we have very highly skilled people on our staff, and that's what it takes to get people to meet their financial goal. And we want to keep doing what we're doing. I think we're on a good path. We just want to do it in a much bigger way. Yeah.
Yeah, it resonates with an inch wide and a mile deep kind of vibe. Or if you really do want to scale, are you pressing the right buttons to make that difference long term? Or are we I look at KG&U a lot like this sometimes, are we just pressing the same buttons because we've been pressing the same buttons for 40 some plus years? Or are we pressing the right buttons that truly make a difference? And you've got about 30 seconds to lay down a nice elevator pitch for the listeners of KG&U.
Awesome. Okay. At NEWSED Community Development Corporation, we envision that all underserved populations have access and the opportunity to create household prosperity. That's really what it's all about for us. We feel that there is a path, no matter what situation you're in, believe it or not. And we want to be able to help people find that path. If it's to buying a home, if it's to starting a business, if it's to just figuring out their finances, we want to help you with that. And so that's what we do well. And we've been around 52 years. We are a trusted organization in the city of Denver. We have a great reputation, and we invite you to be a part of that experience and support us in what we do.
All right. Thank you so much, Andrea. Thanks for joining me on Connections this morning, and have a beautiful day.
Eli, thank you so much for this. Thank you so much.
Anytime. We'll definitely connect in the future, because I'm down on Santa Fe Avenue all the time.
Great.
All right. Bye.
See you then. Bye-bye.
Talk show.
Talk back.
Talk radio.
Walk your talk.
Talk your talk. KG&U Talk.
Call in.
Call in and talk.
Call in and connect.
Connections.
Friday mornings at 8:30
On KGNU.